But yeah, by the time this interview is out, Amsterdam is going to be out. So congratulations on that. What has that been like kind of building up to it and having the release coming so soon?
Yeah, I mean, I think so for me personally, I kind of started this journey, I would say 8 years ago. And it's been very interesting because somehow I've lucked into, um, I guess I would say, working with the best. I just finished working with Chris Nolan for the second time, and then David for the first time on Amsterdam. It, you know, I was a hockey player a long time ago, right? And when I think about the parallels, my first year in the NHL, I played for a team in Detroit that I think, in my opinion, was probably one of the greatest NHL teams ever assembled. And it's so interesting to just kind of the relationship between, playing on that team and what you soak into your bones, and then to compare it to being on set with David, and not only that, um, being in a scene with some of the fellow actors that I was in, to start this career that way, it's invaluable. Like I don't even, you just soak things into your bones that I didn't even realize until I actually saw Amsterdam a couple nights ago. You think back on just the experience and what happened, and now you can understand just seeing the pros work. That's why I use the analogy of like playing in Detroit. The practices were even more important than the games for me, just seeing how those guys would practice. So yeah, the Amsterdam experience is another one that I just wow. If I don't make the most of this opportunity and you don't learn from every one of these situations, then you're failing yourself. But it was incredible. And I saw the movie, and part of the reason why I wasn't really gonna talk about it, because I'm in it's a small part in the movie, although every scene in the movie is like another heavy hitter. Just it's like a master class. It goes. Have you seen it yet?
I have not seen it, but I'm really excited for it.
It's first of all, Margot Robbie I think it's her best performance of her career.
That's a bold statement.
She is unbelievable, and I don't think that she has ever looked more beautiful, and she's like a ballerina in it. She's going toe to toe with some heavy hitters, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and she holds the movie for a big part of it. But the way she looks in it, it's the best lit movie that I have ever seen. And people are going to be, it's very interesting. It's not, you have to get invested in it. You have to sit down and really, I don't know. There's a house full of TikTokers that are renting a house across the street from us in California. And it's just this instant gratification of everything. This movie, you really have to love movies and sit down and soak it in and just let it come to you and enjoy the ride. It's so beautiful. I can't believe how beautifully shot the movie is. And then the performance, like Mike Myers in this movie, oh my God, he is so good. He is like, he's kind of taken a bunch of all of his past characters and put them into one. He's incredible in it. He's so good in it. Everyone's just off the charts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know there are a lot of big names in this movie, but aside from that, what do you hope that viewers take from it after watching this film?
So, I mean, I think one of the things, I've gone online and read a lot of the reviews, and there's kind of this movement that this anti-David O. Russell movement that is, what I want to tell people is, so the whole experience for me was a week long. Okay, from the audition, which I did in my car on Sunset Boulevard,
Really?
FaceTiming David, which was the first time that I had ever auditioned that way. And it was the most wild experience I've ever had in my life. I pulled the car over and we did the audition on FaceTime. I propped the camera up on the like dash of the car.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the beginning of it. But you know, I am a huge Russell fan. I'm a huge Bale fan. Okay. I have seen, you know, B-roll of their legendary behind the scenes videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I walked on set and one, nobody knew anything about this movie. Like you didn't really know what it was about. You didn't know, I had no idea who was in it. I got my sides a couple days before, 2 days before. And I walked on set and I had no idea, right? I walked in the first day and I didn't know who I was going to be in the movie with. Now, when you see Christian Bale for the first time, that's a heavy experience. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot to wrap your head around. Now knowing, and now I'm looking and going, oh my God, he's Burt Berenson. This is the guy that I'm in the scene with. Not just in the scene with, like a walk and talk. Then I look to his right and it's Chris Rock. And I mean, it's Chris Rock, right? And the only partial saving grace was John David Washington, who I'd worked with in Tenet and spent a lot of time with, like 6 weeks driving to set every day. Like I got to know John David really well. So that was really comforting. Now, this is what I want people to really understand. Christian Bale had no idea who I was. He just thought I was to him, I was an actor. I don't think anyone tipped him off and said, and I know Christian has been to New York Ranger games when I played in New York, and he had no idea who I was. David didn't really know who I was either. So, you know, part of what's interesting about performing, and whether it's sports or in movies or television, is nerves, right? And like, how do you, when you're given an opportunity, how do you step up to the plate? Because this is a split second moment. Your life flashes before your eyes. I don't think I've ever been more nervous in my life, right? Because at least when I played hockey, I'd been doing it since I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
So I had that ingrained. I could just hit or lean into some muscle memory stuff that is totally natural to me, regardless of whether it was the first time I was on the ice with Steve Yzerman and Brendan Shanahan or whoever. Mm-hmm. This is a totally different, a different thing. And I want to be like very honest about it. I had a complete blackout, right? Yeah. Like, and for 2 days, primarily the first day for sure, Christian Bale walked, we did this, I don't know how many times, 40 times. I didn't know my lines. I could pull pieces of it, but I couldn't get a full take. Christian Bale, in between takes, during lunch, all he did was walk up and down with me in between takes and run the lines with me. Wow. Now, you know, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I don't think that happens with, I don't think most gods, or maybe they do, but you know, to actually see it happen and it was one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had. And then, you know, on top of that, we've all seen, I'm thinking like, I got David's behind the camera and you don't really see him because he's kind of off to the side. There's a little video village and he was just as warm and comforting, walking me through it. You know, I could hear him. I could hear him like off into the distance. And there were a couple of times where I got so frustrated, I just threw my hands up and said, you know, I won't say what I said, but, and I could hear David just kind of coming over the ether, like, Sean, keep going, say anything, just keep going. So for me as an actor, as somebody that has sort of also lived this parallel life and been exposed to the greats, these guys, I mean, I'll forever be indebted to them. And like, honestly, watching the movie, seeing my scene, I was just so excited to watch these masters work. Like, it's really a beautiful movie. It's really really good, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was it was yeah, I'll never forget that. I just hope people go and see it. You know, we haven't seen movies for a long time,
Yeah.
you know, in theaters, and I saw it at El Capitan, which is just this beautiful small little theater in Hollywood. And it just feels, and people were laughing, and there was so much laughter. And it was like cathartic for me. I just released myself, and like, I laughed at everything. I didn't care how loud I was laughing. I didn't care that I was in the movie. You know what I mean? I just went for it. I'm really excited for people to just go and like sit down for 2.5 hours and just let it ride.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what was that like, kind of sitting there and listening and watching people's reaction to this movie that you're in?
It was very cool. I mean, the first time, I think, so it's happened I've a couple of other times, but this one was, you know, because each role kind of for me gets a little bit bigger, and I think now people aren't so jarred when they see me in something. You know, it's kind of like, oh, you know, because I got text messages from a few people that were there afterwards. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. This is a hard business.
Mm-hmm.
Like, anyone that wants to be an actor and says, I want to be an actor, you can do it, but you got to get in the trenches, and you're going to have to grind. Like, this thing is all about failure and embracing failure and using that as motivation. If you can't, but the payoff is like, it's incredible. It's incredible, because I can feel it happening. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was awesome. But I'm a huge movie fan. Like, I don't know. I love movies, right? Like, that's all I do is watch movies. I watched The Scent of a Woman yesterday, and I hadn't watched it in a long time. And like, and now as I get older, I cry in movies. Everything's different. So it was amazing. It was amazing. But I'm telling you, when people see this, how beautiful this is shot. I mean, Margot Robbie looks like she looks like they dropped her down from heaven in this movie. I mean, she looks so good. There's a scene where they're walking up to a house to meet De Niro's character for the first time. It's like I'm just rolling that off my tongue. And the way that David shot it, and the way that Margot's walking, I just got goosebumps. It's just so cool. It's so cool. And Christian is like on a different level in this comedically. By the way, that's the other thing. This is a full-blown comedy. I mean, I don't know what they're calling it or what category they're putting this in, but this is a caper comedy. I mean, I don't think it's a drama. It's a comedy. I mean, you know, and Mike Myers just kind of, he just turns his comedic chops on. Wow, it's so good. It's really good. Really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, if you could describe this movie as a whole in like 3 words, what would they be?
Oh my God. It's a hallucinogenic stroll through wallflowers.
Okay, that's very original.
Yeah. Wallflowers. Wallflowers, are wallflowers different than wildflowers? I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it'll make sense when everybody sees it. They'll come back
Yeah.
to this and they'll be like, yes, I understand what you're saying now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Rami Malek in this. I mean,
Yeah.
he's so good. He's so good. It's like I don't even who there's so many people in this. Every time it shifts, the story shifts, it's like a new set of Hollywood heavy hitters that
Hmm.
are all firing on all cylinders. That I think that's the other interesting thing is like from a director standpoint, it can't be easy to have all these massive stars that are usually anchoring their own movies working together in an ensemble.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think we're going to see it with Babylon a little bit, but
Yeah.
um, I think what it does is when the best get to work with the best, they all up their game.
Hmm.
You know, they don't take any shifts off. So it's just so fun. It's fun. It's different. It's also very different. Like don't expect American Hustle
Yeah.
um, or Silver Linings. Like it's its own thing. And yeah, I hope people go and see it for sure.
Yeah. And my last question for you, I know you're obviously gearing up for this release, but do you have any future projects that you could hint at or talk about?
Yeah, right now I'm on this Paramount Plus Taylor Sheridan show called Lioness with Zoe Saldana. Oh, Zoe's in Amsterdam also, and she's beautiful. There's like a little love story that's happening. She's fantastic in it. So yeah, right now I'm in that, and we're shooting in Baltimore. Um, and you know, here's the other thing: if actors are watching this, what's next? I just read Peter Berg's pilot for this new Netflix series that he's doing called American Primeval, and now I do everything I can to get cast in that. And that's just kind of, you know, you can't wait for this stuff to come to you.
Hmm.
I mean, you have to be patient. You have to kind of feel it. But like, I've read the pilot, and now I'm going to do everything in my power to get into that show because I read it, and it's just like this is incredible. Pete Berg's incredible. I've worked with Pete before. He's actually who sort of got me, made me, or helped me decide to be an actor. Um, so that hopefully is next after Lioness, and you just kind of keep going, and then I think eventually you get a role that everyone can't, they just can't, they just see it, you know, and then you're kind of off to the races. But until then, you just grind and have fun. I guess that's the other thing, like have fun doing it, and you know, take chances and just kind of let it rip a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. But congratulations on everything so far, and hopefully you do get that pilot as well. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. It was great talking to you.
All right, cool. I appreciate it.